Let's turn our attention to women's soccer, where Megan Rapinoe, you know Megan Rapinoe, she's a left-wing activist who I think coincidentally also plays soccer. Megan Rapinoe has a novel argument as to why God does not exist. And the argument comes because in Megan Rapinoe's final match of her career, she was injured, and so she didn't get to finish her match. And she said this was greatly unfair and proof that God does not exist. Before we get to Megan's argument, I have to ask, how many times is this woman going to retire from soccer? Because I saw this headline and I said, wait a second, Megan Rapinoe is still playing soccer? I distinctly remember months ago reading that Megan Rapinoe had played her last match. And something went wrong in that too, and she was whining about that. She was complaining about whatever happened in that game. And then I said, okay, well, she's whining and complaining, and she's a very difficult woman to listen to. But hey, at least she is done with soccer, and I don't need to read about her anymore and her antics and her anti-American activism. But then months later, I have to read about Megan Rapinoe again. So then I looked, and I said, oh, this was her last game too. But turns out I was right. Because I looked up, this is the same news source. This is ABC News, September 25th. What happened at Megan Rapinoe's final USWNT game? Team USA scored a victory against South Africa in Rapinoe's final game. September 25th, Rapinoe's final game. Then, ABC News, November 11th, Megan Rapinoe exits NWSL championship with injury in final game. How many final games is this woman going to have? Can this be the final one, please? Have we had enough, Megan Rapinoe? I certainly have. Right after she makes her argument as to why God does not exist, which we will get to right after I tell you about Beam Organics. Right now, go to shopbeam, BEAM.com/Knowles. Are you struggling to sleep at night? Did you know that poor sleep can cause weight gain, mood issues, poor mental health, and lowered productivity? Sleep is the foundation of our mental and physical health and performance. You must have a consistent nighttime routine to function at your best. If you're struggling with sleep, you got to go check out Beam. Beam is designed to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. Beam's Dream Powder not only rhymes, it contains a powerful all-natural blend of ingredients, including magnesium L-theanine. They sent some Dream Powder down to the studio for our team to try. Apparently, the team stole all of it already because I haven't even gotten to have a nice extra heaping helping of Beam. And Beam is helping people fall asleep and stay asleep. Unlike regular sleeping pills that will make you wake up feeling groggy, Beam will help you wake up ready to go. Just mix Beam Dream into hot water or milk, yum, stir and froth, and enjoy before bedtime. And today, our listeners can get a special discount on Beam's delicious Dream Powder, their best-selling hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. They have flavors like cinnamon cocoa, chocolate peanut butter. Better sleep has never tasted better. Go check out their best-selling Dream Powder. Take advantage of their biggest sale of the year. Get up to 50% off for a limited time. Beam right now. Shopbeam.com/Knowles, Canada BWLES. Your discount is auto-applied at checkout. No code is necessary. BEAM, that's the name of the company. Go to shopbeam.com/Knowles for up to 50% off. Right now, go to preborn.com/Knowles. Little things can make a big difference. A little note, a little smile, a precious little baby. When you sponsor an ultrasound at Preborn, your gift, no matter how small, makes a big difference in a big way. Who will this little baby become? What life will this baby live? How about the mother who was spared from unspeakable sorrow because of you? A small donation of just $28 gives a mother the opportunity to meet her child through ultrasound, which could help double a baby's chance at life. All you've got to do is take a few minutes today to make a life-saving donation. Preborn will take it from there. Preborn's network of clinics rescues 200 tiny babies every day. Simple as that. They also fundraise separately for their administrative costs, so every dollar you give is going directly towards saving babies, and they get results, 200 every day. It's very simple. The mother gets an ultrasound, doubles the chance that she will not have an abortion. This is a very simple, effective way to do your part to help save innocent little babies. Get involved today by dialing pound 250, say keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/Knowles, KNWLES. That is preborn.com/Knowles. At long last, here is Megan Rapinoe's argument as to why God does not exist.
This is a long one, although I'm going to get the Aaron Rodgers treatment, whatever that is. So I'm going to be calling him or whoever did his surgery because we need to speed this up. But yeah, I thought about it a little bit. I mean, I'm not a religious person or anything. And if there was a God, this is proof that there isn't. This is up. So yeah, it's just because like 6 minutes in, eat my Achilles. I mean, what the
So the argument, let's take it. So she's obviously being tongue in cheek here, but the argument is an argument that a lot of Reddit tier atheists make, which is because a bad thing happened to me, that's proof that God does not exist. But, this is an old problem that people have been grappling with for ever, and it's theodicy. It's the problem of pain and suffering, given a God who is omnipotent and omnibenevolent and omnipresent. Some people, I think, have pointed to this as a great example, a great counter-argument to the argument that Megan Rapino thinks she's making. The fact that this woman, who in her public life is quite odious, was not able to play what I hope is her final game of soccer, might not be seen as proof that God does not exist. Some would actually come to quite the opposite conclusion here. But even if one did not, it bears repeating because one can understand it intellectually, but when you actually do rip your Achilles when you're playing your last game and it's really meaningful to you, you actually will cry out to God very often and be very angry with God. Even faithful people will do that very often. So I have a bit of sympathy for Megan Rapino here. But when you think about it intellectually and you remove yourself from the immediate pain of it, you can see it all quite clearly. Suffering is not a proof against God's existence, because suffering has no moral quality in and of itself. It is the reaction to suffering that has a moral quality. And the reaction to suffering can be one that is degrading and is vicious, or the reaction to suffering can be edifying and sanctifying, and you can come out strong. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger, would be a shallow way to put it. And that's the case. And why is there sin and death in the world? Because man has free will and abused his free will to rebel against God. And as a consequence of that, sin and death pervade the world. And there are eternal consequences for sin, but there are also temporal effects of sin. So when you commit a sin, you can go and, as it says in the gospel, you can go and confess your sins, and the successors to the apostles can forgive your sins. They can give you absolution. And that takes care of the eternal consequences of sin, but there's still temporal consequences of sin. If you go out and steal a candy bar, and then you go and you say, I'm sorry, I apologize, God forgive me, please, and then you receive absolution from God, well, the shop owner is still out a candy bar. He's still out a couple of bucks. There's still a temporal effect of that. And so sin and death pervade the world, beautifully described by John Milton in Paradise Lost. But the happy ending to that is that there's a solution, and there's actually redemption that comes through suffering, and ultimately through the suffering of the perfect victim who's totally innocent. And that's why we say on Easter, oh, happy fault that won for us so great, so glorious a Redeemer. So probably a more in-depth answer than Megan Rapino was looking for. But since that is her final game of soccer, I figured it would be a good opportunity to give it to her. Man, what a great clip that was. It was good, huh? Now make sure, hey, you got to ring that bell. Subscribe to the Michael Knowles podcast. We'll see you next time.